be live here.
All right, so we should be going live here soon. If people could see us, just let us know. But John, I think we're good. All right, I think everybody can see us. Looks like the quality's coming through. All right, for those who are tuning in, it looks like the numbers are going up. Just let us know if you guys could hear us okay, the audio, the video. If there's any issues, just let us know. All right, so far so good. So I think we'll go ahead and get started. Cody, I see you joined in. Does everything look so good, look okay on your end? So if you're watching, I got my phone here, and I'm trying to look at the computer and my phone so I can catch your guys' questions and everything else. So it looks like the number's going up, so we'll just go ahead and get started. So Bill says we're good, Cody says we're good, so I think we're good to go, John. All right, everybody, so let's do this. As promised, I'm sitting with Captain John Lovato, down luckily on vacation, right near the beach. I'm up here in the hot, swampy area of Virginia, but he's been kind enough to take some time away from his vacation to sit here and talk with us. So, John, the first thing I want to do before we get into all the questions, John's got some stuff that he wants to talk about, and like anything else that we do, it'll lead off into a bunch of different avenues, which is good. And then there's some questions that some of the followers have posted on the comments that we want to get to as well. So, John, if you would just let them know who you are, how Brotherhood coaching got started, and just kind of your leadership path and how you became so passionate about company level leadership.
All right. Well, John Lovato, I'm a captain down in Southwest Florida, and I founded Brotherhood Coaching because, like anyone else who's passionate about the fire service, the passionate ones were either underpaid or the guys that aren't passionate are overpaid. So you got to channel your energy someplace. And I decided to kind of branch out and start something, kind of share my message. So that's what the path that I took into more leadership. I don't work for a department that goes to a fire every day. We don't go to a fire every week, not even every month. So leadership seems to be kind of where I found my niche with it. And like anyone else, I'm the result of some good leadership and some poor leadership. And the good ones, you learn what you like and you want to do that. And the bad ones, you learn what you don't want to do. I made a decision probably 5-6 years ago to go outside my department. I had some good company officers that shared with me some good things, but I wanted more. And a lot of the guys are still active today in the fire service that I picked up little nuggets of knowledge from year after year, conference after conference. And I made a decision that I was going to implement what I learned. It's one thing to learn something, but it's another thing to actually implement what you're learning. And it was hard. I was nervous every day for about the first 6 months because I was doing things different than how they've always been done, at least with my department. But it's paid off in big dividends and is starting to spread. And that kind of rolled into the book. I kind of was like, hey, I was getting a lot of good feedback from my guys. We have people that want to be assigned there, and no one really wants to leave because of the crew. Yeah, it's definitely a team effort. I am not the common denominator with it. And we've all actually the current crew, we've all talked. We wouldn't mind trying a different assignment, but we all don't want to leave each other because of the team that we've built. And I think that's what it's all about, because just like you create your family at home, then you create your family at the firehouse. And some people don't like to be close to the crew. I do. Does it make it harder? Yes, it does. But as Jocko would say, good. You got to learn. Right. You got to figure out a way to deal with it. That's kind of at least the beginning part. The book's out there. I just put out a planner, company officer logbook, kind of more as a keepsake for guys and help ways to get organized, because I hear a lot of guys just don't know how to organize the day or plan it. And really, Jared, the more you plan. That's probably how you pass that. Did so well in your captain's exam is putting your timeline down and organizing and executing on your goals.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, John, man. I know if you guys haven't followed Brotherhood Coaching, it's an awesome thing to follow. A lot of good advice. And I think for the majority of us that are in the fire service, I would say that the vast majority of us are at that company level, company officers and below. So a lot of the stuff that John puts out is applicable to what we do every day. And I look at it and I think it's awesome stuff. You know, you mentioned something, the whole too close to your crew thing. And I feel like I'm guilty of that too. And you and I think we're cut from the same cloth. It's like, that's just who we are. And it's part of that family. And I've seen people say, well, you can't be a buddy boss, which there's some truth to that. I agree with that. But I don't think there's anything wrong with the company officer getting close to their crew and developing friendships. I think, and I've said it before, I think the problem lies is, if I'm John's company officer and he's one of the firefighters in the station and we have a great relationship, but it gets to the point where there's a friendship that's good, but if it spills over into the fire station too much where it's like, now when it's time for performance evaluation time, I can't give John an honest one because I don't want to hurt his feelings, or I'm afraid to tell him the truth. Or, John does something on the fire ground or the EMS scene or out in the public. And it's like, if it was a knucklehead, I'd have no problem correcting him. But if John does it, I'm going to let it go because, we're buds. So if you are the type where you can't draw that line and you can't correct that behavior, then maybe you're the type that does need to take a step back and you can't get too involved. You could certainly have a family, absolutely, but you got to be careful with how close you get. And I think that's person by person, personality. Everyone's different.
A lot of times it's a lot easier to listen to some advice or direction given to you when you're close with someone. If I have a relationship with you and it's a good relationship, odds are you're going to take maybe my feedback and go, okay, it's coming from you. You're not a ball buster. This is where I need to improve. And it's more likely to happen.
Right. Exactly.
Relationship.
Well, cool, man. Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to get into some of your questions first, and then we'll go after everybody.
For all those off-duty ones watching, would you please crack a beer and enjoy it with me and Jarrod? Because I made him put his water down here on vacation. I can enjoy one every now and then.
Absolutely.
Like the koozie from the post the other day. So here's the koozie.
As soon as I saw that, I went online. I was like, man, I got to get one of those. But their store, the Tactical Advantage training website was down. It was under construction, so I couldn't get one.
I got this some years ago. It sits in my truck. And we were down here. My wife goes, you keep koozies in your truck? It's like, yes, don't judge me.
That's right. You live in Florida, you got to have one, right? You never know when you're going to land on a beach and drink some beer somewhere. So
it's a good time.
So while I'm digging up John's questions, and I'll make sure I refer to the news feed here. If you get his book, which is Fix Your Firehouse, which I have it right here in front of me, which is an awesome book. He has this section in here called the absent father syndrome, and if I screw this up, he'll correct me. But he basically goes into kind of the stuff that we're talking about, being involved and not closing and locking yourself in your office all day, being involved with your crew, listening, feeling the pulse of the station, and that's so critical to building trust as a company and getting some credibility as a company officer. If you're not doing that, you're off the mark. All right. So let's see. I got the questions here. So the first one, and these are things that John and I agreed that we both wanted to talk about. So the first one is, and they're not in order here. The first one is the disconnect that exists with the senior guys in the Proby. And I think we see that, and I see it in my department too. And I think it's all over the country. New guy gets to the station, and even there might maybe this unfair perception or preconceived notion of, man, this guy's brand new. What the heck does he know about the fire service? Which is probably not a lot because they just came out of the academy, right? But that's up to us to show them. But the senior guys, they hold on to this fire department of the past, which is good. I think they should. But, for whatever reason, there's that disconnect. And I don't want to have nothing to do with him. It's like they should get it on their own. I had to do the same thing. It's almost like we sprinkle pixie dust on him. We expect him to be this good firefighter. We don't put any effort into him. So what are your thoughts on that, John? What do you think about that disconnect? How does that happen, and how do we fix it?
Well, fortunately, and this is my perspective with it, is I also teach at our local fire academy. Now, My fire department does not run the fire academy. We're just smaller, so when we hire, we don't hire that many at a time. So our fire academy branches, feeds out to all the other local departments. So at the fire academy, basically they're learning just enough to get themselves hurt. We taught saws one day, and I explained to them, they only touch the saw each recruit maybe once, because that's the amount of time. We're a school board system. There's only so many hours that we get these guys, and only so many instructors are allowed. You try to give them as much hands-on as I can, but I'm sitting in the academy, and I'm telling you right now, I'm telling them, hey, when you get on the job, that's where you're actually going to learn how your department does it, how your crew does it, and you're going to get your sets and reps. You're going to try and get as many as you can, but you're going to get it when you're at the firehouse. Then, at the firehouse, people are going, well, you should have learned this in the fire academy. Why don't you know this already?
Right.
There's so much in the fire academy that you can't have proficiency in everything. It's that new guy coming in, he's a baby, just like you raise a baby and you got to teach them things. They don't know everything just because. You got to show them, because right now, this past February was my 19th year in the fire service. So everything I know right now took me 19 years. We forget that 10-year guy might be going, why does this new guy know how to do this? I know how to do this. Well, it took you 10 years in all reality. You might have not taken to the 10th year. Maybe you learned it in your 6th year, but you got really good at it your 8th year. And we lose that disconnect because it's really hard to remember where we were. We just know where we are right now. And that's the big disconnect, is understanding, hey, and I read a story years ago, and it was a driver that was complaining to the company officer about the new guy. And the company officer goes, well, he's complaining about the way he threw ladders. The company officer goes, did you show him how to throw ladders? Well, no, he should know this already.
Right.
That right there, should. Unless you show them and have them do their sets and reps with it, it's like sitting back saying, your spouse should do this. This is the reality of the situation. The kid needs work. Work with them. Show them the best way, and they're going to get better. And firsthand.
Yeah. It kills me that, and I guess for me, I can't think of how that's even possible that somebody wouldn't want to do that. Like for me, when I walk away from the fire service, there's going to be a time when I leave my department, I leave the fire service, and I'm walking away and I'm not looking back. I will move into retirement and my life will be in a different place. And that's a long way away. But when I walk away, I want to walk away knowing that, for me, Norfolk Fire Rescue in Virginia, I made that place the best place possible. It kills me where I'll see these senior guys, and they're good firefighters. They got experience and they're competent and they know what they're doing. But they sit around and it's like, well, I don't want to help anybody. They speak out of both sides of their mouth. I don't want to help this person. I don't have time for them. That's not my job. I'm not a babysitter. I'm not the officer. But on the other side of their mouth, it's this place is not what it used to be. Well, then get off your ass and do something about it. So you just, and who am I as a junior officer to tell a 20 or 30-year guy, hey, get off your ass and do something. But the bottom line is, if that's you need to get off your ass and do something, because the place ain't changing with you sitting around the galley table just griping about it. You gotta pick up a flag and do it. And sometimes, people will surprise. I had a senior guy one time tell me, and I was running the academies. He says, they don't want me down there. They don't want me down there running them recruits. I said, well, I would love to have you down there. You have a good reputation of being a good firefighter. Come teach these guys something. No, they don't want me down there. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, I'm the guy that can get you in there to teach. Let's go. Come on. No, I'm not going to do it. So it's like, put your money where your mouth is. It's unfortunate, but it's out there. So I'll bounce around, John, and we'll go that one. I'll go to one of these questions right here in the news feed. Ryan Gray. So Ryan asks, any pointers for somebody who is about to serve as an academy officer in charge? You ever run any academies, John, down there? Been like a lead instructor or anything?
No, I've just pretty much sit as the adjunct instructor. So there's a lead guy, and then I just help him out with the subject matter that we're going to be teaching.
Cool. So I did a couple years in training, and that was the lion's share of my responsibility was a TRFA or Fire Academy coordinator. So, man, I could probably talk for hours about all different types of nuances that happen in a fire academy. But Ryan, the best advice I can give to you is to believe in the core values, whether it's your department or your personal ones. Your job is to put out good recruits, regardless of all the political noise that will come your way. Your job in the end is to put out good recruits that will serve the public. That comes with discipline, that comes with structure. Unfortunately, there's academies that would run they would run their departments like your local community college, and there's no discipline, there's no structure. There's just, hey, let's all just come in, let's make a nice, easy learning environment. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Do we have to make a learning environment, suitable for learning? Yes. But in the fire department, we're not faxing TPS reports. We wake up in the middle of the night. We're put in high stress situations. Those recruits need to be tested day in, day out. They need discipline. They need structure. The other thing that I'll tell you is it's super easy to be, very stern, very hold those people accountable your first day, right? They're brand new. You're like, man, what? I'm going after these recruits. They're going to be the best recruits. They're going to do the fire service well. As time goes on, that's going to be harder to do. And you wouldn't think so because we're human beings. We develop relationships with them. You're going to get to know your recruits and you're going to like them. You may dislike some of them, but it's going to be harder and harder to hold people accountable, right? And just like I mentioned with the knucklehead, you're going to have people in your academy that are superstars, right? They're just going to get it from day one and they're going to be no problem. Then there's going to be people that are going to have issues, whether it's performance issues, behavior, bad attitude, whatever, and you're going to have to deal with those. But you have to deal with both of those people equally, right? If the squared away guy comes in late one day and he's screwing up, you can't just pass it off as, well, he's good, I'm just going to let him ride. No, you need, again, it goes along with that structure and that discipline. You got to walk that fine line, I think, as an academy instructor the whole time. And another thing is I found you have to make sure, that you invest time. You got to care. And Ryan, I know you got to care about what you're doing there. You truly got to want to be an academy instructor. For us, it's a volunteer. It's primarily volunteer. They ask somebody, or maybe somebody brings up to their chain of command, hey, I want to go in there. I want to run an academy. As far as I'm concerned, that's the best way to keep it, because you get people that want to get in there and they want to do it for the right reason. So stay focused on the end goal. You're going to have people that aren't going to always agree as far as your staff, like your academy staff. There's always more than one way to do things. You're going to have disagreements. You're going to agree on certain things. But in the end, everybody's focus should be putting out good recruits for the public. That's the end goal. And Ryan, you can call me, man. I'll give you advice all day long about other things as far as being an academy officer in charge. But the last thing I'll say is be a good example. You are going to be your fire department, right? I walk in day one with those recruits. I'm Norfolk Fire Rescue to them, right? Immediately, that's what they see. This guy is the Norfolk Fire Department. So, if you're asking them to be in shape, keep yourself in shape. If you're telling them their uniforms need to be squared away, well, then your uniforms used to be squared away. And I'm weird because, like, I was in the military, and call me crazy, but I just love, like, ironing my pants and shirts and stuff. It's kind of stupid, but and my wife will tell you I'm crazy, but I used to enjoy that. So you're going to have to do that too. You're telling those recruits they need to be dressed right dressed. You got to be dressed right dressed. So, but Ryan, give me a call. I'll talk to you all day long. We'll talk about some academy stuff. But even as an adjunct, right? You got to go in there and set the example, because again, you're coming in there. John's an adjunct instructor. That's what they see, right? They're seeing the Fort Myers Fire Department when he walks in. All right. So let's move in. Let's see if there's any more questions. We'll jump back to one of yours, John, real quick, and then we'll go back to the live feed. So positive ways of dealing with the stressors of our job. So I'll couple this with another question. There was somebody else who asked, and let me just look at it real quick. Just bear with me. Someone from the Red Light Circle asked, so positive ways to deal with stressors of the job, which is something that John mentioned. And then the other one is, how are you dealing with mental health and stability of your crews, which I think we can kind of tie those together. And then is your administration supportive of these actions? Are they doing anything to help these practices go department-wide? So what do you see from down there where you're at, John?
All right. So I'm sure just like everywhere else, I had a lot of conversations with my former battalion chief. And that's when I started noticing we had some similar stories. And I actually just did a live audio today on this of, we talk about post-traumatic stress. I don't know too much in depth about that, but I'm just right now what I'm calling it is flashbacks. When you're driving down the road, coming home, maybe going to the grocery store, and all of a sudden you think of a bad call. When I say bad call, I'm talking about, something you didn't want to see, something that maybe involved a kid, maybe somebody didn't make it, the bad shit, right? And it pops in your head, maybe you get a little sad, and then as quick as it came in, it's out. And, he actually, this former battalion chief, he actually used to kind of have nightmares with it. And, I come from a family of firemen, and my grandfather had once pulled up, and there was a guy burned alive in a vehicle, and he didn't sleep for a while. And actually, early in my career, I think I was 20, and I ended up running a triple fatal on 3 kids my age, and we were on body bag duty. And I didn't sleep for a couple of days after that because I kept seeing those images. So you compound that, though, over, this past February I said it was 19 years. Does it happen every day? No, but you got to figure out a way to deal with it. Because right now we have that behavioral health center that just opened up in Maryland, and I think we're learning that this is an important factor. We got to deal with it, but I don't think that's enough. It's going to talk about it. We have to do treatment on ourselves, and the treatment on ourselves I actually talk about. I call it the first 4 right now because I learned it from someone way smarter than me. I hired a coach to learn how to handle some stuff, and I actually just emailed him earlier. But it's a big thing for me to really deal with a positive way is going to be sweating every day, doing something. I'm on vacation. I did 100 burpees. I don't like burpees. Ask any of my guys. I did it. It gets the blood flowing. It kind of primes your body. We're made to work all day long. I do that. I meditate 1 to 2 times a day. And that it's been going on for like 3 years, and that really helps calm all the mental chatter in your head. We all have self-talk. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. And that meditation does, it kind of calms it, and it makes space so you can handle the stressors of the day because you have a calmness, no outside influences, nothing. I don't even listen to anything. There's so many different ways to meditate. I think that's a key part, being part of something bigger than yourself, learning and teaching. Nutrition, eating right. I drink a green shake. I blend up some spinach every morning with some protein powder, and I eat a lot of red meat. But the doc says my blood works good from all the vegetables coming in.
Yeah.
So I go in depth more about the first 4 what I follow in the Brotherhood Coaching Facebook group, and I got a little video if you go to the main page. But a lot of it is we always seek help from other people for ourselves. We got to do this work on ourselves. I think going to some of these programs, if you need it, is good. But at the end of the day, if I'm on vacation right now, I'm joining adult beverage, but this is basically causing mental fogness, whatever. It's sedation. It's not a positive way. If I was having a bad day and this is what I chose how to de-stress, this is just sedation, which means I feel good for a little bit, but then later on, the problem's still there. When you're sweating every day, meditating, having that calmness, being a part of something bigger than yourself, and making something better, that actually deals with the stressor. Right. Tim Kennedy did a post. I talk about it in the book a while back, and he doesn't really. He's got his own viewpoint on PTSD, but it's all about being a part of something bigger than yourself. And it's very similar mantra. I don't think we learn the same way with what I do. But I'll give you a little example. Today we're at the beach, and I brought some brute force sandbags. So I want to start using some sandbags. So we're here on the beach. I figured I might as well use the sand here. So I loaded up my sandbag, and it was probably a good 200-yard walk back to my truck. And some of the family members goes, "You're going to carry that instead of using the cart?" I go, "Yeah, it'll be a good workout." It's you make personal challenges to yourself and then overcome them because they make you stronger physically and also mentally.
Right.
Might sound a little odd, but the most miserable people are the ones that sit around and do nothing. We're not made to do that. We're made to work. We're made to make things better and add value to others, and those are some of the happiest people.
Right, you're right.
So to really is do that. I'm at a busy house. Last year we did like 5,000 responses with 2 units, and so we see some things we are exciting, but we also see some things we don't want to see. And right now, as an agency, we have like peer counselor. I don't know if I'm getting the term right, but within a certain time of the incident, a guy will show up and just have a conversation, and he tries to read you to see if you might need further talking with someone, more of a counselor type.
Right.
We just had a not so great call happen, and the guy came in, he talked to some newer guys, and so as a department, I think I'm answering that question. That's kind of what we're starting with. We have this one guy's interested, but I think we need to go deeper, but you shouldn't look for your department to fix that. You should look to yourself, and I think you'll get better dividends because we have to take ownership of ourselves to realize, hey, what's going to work. And it's good to ask questions to more senior guys. Hey, what are you doing? What works? And right. I'll tell you right now, they have less flashbacks. I don't, because my flashbacks, I get sad for a little bit and it'd be better. Actually, weeks ago, I actually told my wife, I told her, don't be alarmed. I said, this happens, and but it goes away, and that's about it. But what I told her that what I found was, I have a gym in my garage, and I also in the past 2 months started jujitsu, and I get my butt kicked every time I go. But that actually helps a lot too. And I actually talked to the professor there and told him that I'm actually finding it being more like a medicinal practice, because I just feel very calm and relaxed more often going to that. And I don't know what it is, but it's stressing your body, and that's all I can say to guys is if you're sitting around, it's kind of like you're just wallowing in it. Go out, work, or make something better. Like you said, you go help the recruits make the fire service better than you found it, and that's a key element too. Is times I'm tired and maybe don't want to train, or I'll use family for example. I've been a little tired on this trip. My daughter was sick, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not always going to have these days that she wants daddy. Right. So she smiles, whatever she needs. Let's play. Let's have a good time, because these are few.
Yeah, you're right. That's good. So you mentioned pretty much all of them. And I listened to a podcast called Behind the Shield with James Gearing, who's also down there in Florida in Reedy Creek. And he mentioned, I can't remember if it was he who mentioned or one of his guests, but it was those 4 pillars, and I think you pretty much hit them all. Meditation, whether that's actual meditation or getting out on a lake and just disconnecting and fishing, just something where you're shutting your brain off. Exercise, diet, and sleep, right? Because firefighters, we're all well rested. So those are the 4 things that will help, physical health, mental health, those things. And like, I agree with you totally. You got to start with you. You can't be sitting around and waiting for a department to kind of bring you to the rescue. I think departments that have it are great. Don't get me wrong. But I think if they're not doing anything, well, we take ownership right where we're at, and we take individual responsibility. For us, we brought some people in, and we actually included, and I should know the name of the book, but I've forgotten it. It was about mental health that we use in our promotional exam. So if anything, I think it was like, hey, here, you have to read this for your test. And it was actually really enjoyed the book. I was like, man, I don't want to read this. But it was actually really good. So it's starting the conversation, and our safety committee, they're talking about mental health and peer counseling and all that stuff. And I hope we go somewhere with it. Sometimes as fire departments, we get these ideas and it's like, oh, something shiny, and we forget about what we were working on. And you got to stay focused on it, accomplish this before we move on to the next. But that's all good stuff. So let's see. We got another one. And I wanted to bring up, I even wrote your name down, Spencer, and let me try to find your question, because it was a good one that I hear people ask me all the time. Just bear with me. All right, so Spencer asked, as a rookie firefighter, hopefully you're still watching, Spencer, what can I do to learn more working in an atmosphere where there isn't a desire to train? So I just had this conversation with somebody the other day, And it sounds like such an easy answer and maybe even cliche, but you have to make yourself the expert. All right? If nobody is helping you, you obviously recognize it, right? You know wherever you're at right now, Spencer, that you come to work and nobody's there to help you. Well, guess who's in charge? You, Spencer is. All right, so take the truck out, stretch some lines off, and you know what? Maybe there's nobody there to show you, and who knows? Maybe you're screwing it up, and that's okay. But you know what? You'll figure it out. You'll figure out ways to get better. You'll stretch that line. You say, you know, that didn't go so well. Right? We've all stretched crappy lines. I've done it a dozen times. All right, but it's like, how can we do this to make this better? If nobody else is around you, right, then forget about them. Hopefully by doing that, you know, you run, I call it like a shame campaign, where those guys are sitting around saying, oh man, that guy's out there doing this and we're just in here doing whatever we're doing. Let's go out there and just see what he's doing. And I've found that sometimes that even leads into conversations, and they may even show you something and they don't realize they're helping you. But the point of that is you have to take, you got to take ownership. You have to make yourself the expert. Go take classes, reach out to other people outside your station, your peers. All right, you know, ask other people to champion the fire department. Like, hey, what are you guys working on at your station over here? Can you help me out with it? What are you guys working on? Go over it with me. Unfortunately, and that sounds like such a cliche answer, but that's just the facts. You're going to have to go outside those fire station walls and get outside resources, other people, other mentors, other instructors, other classes, conferences, whatever the case may be. But while you're in that station, you know, go stretch those lines, pull the saw off the truck. And this is still chainsaw. Let me hop on the website and read about this saw that I have. Let me read about the blades. Let me know how they work. What do they cut? Yada, yada, yada. What are the operations, the limitations and things like that. So that's my best advice to you, Spencer. And I always feel bad, and it really just kind of pisses me off when people say that you get a brand new guy who's ate up, probably loves being in the fire department, and then there's people that are just absent. They don't want to help you. I think that's just criminal. But Spencer, good luck to you. You can always reach out to John and I, and we'll help you any way we can. But that's the best advice I can give you. I don't know if you have anything else to tell him, John, about that, or if you've experienced that.
I would say, attend conferences, learn from those guys, because basically what fire conferences has become is they are now the senior guys that those people wanted, because their instructors have put themselves out there. They don't make much, if anything, and you can go learn from them. So those are the senior people you want. So go learn from them. And there's another guy that started out training by himself. His name's Aaron Fields.
Mm-hmm.
And look what he's becoming. So you got to start with you. And like I said, go to conferences and just start doing stuff around the station. It's hard, but that's what you got to do.
Awesome. So let's see. Let me just look through here and make sure we have any questions. Tim Brook, and he's so right. It's funny, but he's so right. The fire service does a great job of crushing enthusiasm. You're so spot on. And that leads right into our next question. So somebody asked, John, I'll let you answer this one first. So somebody asked, how do you deal with indifferent leadership who beat down hard charging crews and go-getters? So you just got these leaders that are just trying to smother these passionate people, these go-getters. They're telling them they're doing too much, slow down, knock that off. How do you deal with that? I guess the question would be, and I'm assuming James is answering, if I'm in that position, or if you're in that position, John, how do you deal with that leadership who beats you down if you're a hard charger?
Well, I personally do not believe I've ever experienced where someone tried to smother me. You know, I had some leadership that they might not have agreed with the way I did things, but the credit I'll give them is they never stopped me from doing what I was doing. But I do remember a story by Rick Lasky, who a senior man had told him at the time, and don't you dare let that person take away your passion. Plain and simple. If they're going to push you down, they have issues. They got some problems, and for some odd reason, they're taking them out on you. Don't let it stop you. You know, be a dick, but do what you got to do and maintain that passion. It's a challenge that you're facing in your life, and you have a choice to let it beat you or overcome it. It might take you time to overcome it, but if you're the hardest worker in the room, no one's going to stop you.
Right.
I mean, that's why I can put, so sometimes as passionate people, we can be dicks sometimes, though, and you have to watch that. End of the day, unless you're there present, we don't know why this leadership's trying to stifle passionate people, but there's all sorts of reasons, but that's that's a whole nother thing in itself.
Yeah, and that's hard. I personally have experienced that where it's, hey, you're doing too much, take it easy, slow down, all those same phrases that James probably heard, and that's probably why he's posed the question. And at first, it could really just, I mean, it could really take the wind out of your sails because you're thinking, man, I'm essentially just coming to work, I'm doing my job, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I have this leadership coming down on me saying, stop doing this, which is really confusing because you think they would want that. Like, I'm not a chief. I can't see through a chief's lens, but I would like to think that if I'm a battalion chief or some chief officer and I have a company officer or a firefighter who is just 100 miles an hour, man, I would take that all day long over somebody who's just a bump on a log. Like, could they rub people the wrong way? Possibly, but I would much rather have that, and I certainly would not get in their way. Maybe try to redirect some of their energy, the right way, because like you said, sometimes we could piss people off. I'm sure I've done it. One lesson that I've had to learn is, not everybody thinks like me. When I walk into a fire station, it would be wrong for me to say, man, I'm going to walk in this place. They're going to have the same mindset as me. They're engaged like me. They love the fire service like me. And I just can't expect that out of everybody. I could try, and I could share my passion with people and let them see that, and hopefully they buy into it. And that's a win for me. But at the end of the day, you got to find something to keep them engaged. What I have done to overcome that, I try not to let it get to me. And that's a simple answer, but I try not to. I focus on what I'm doing, and I don't change who I am. I'm not changing it. Hey, slow down. Okay, no problem. Guess what? I'm not doing that. I have an obligation to my crew as a company officer from where I sit right now. So if I'm being told, hey, slow down, hey, knock that off, you're too passionate, you're too fired up, whatever the case may be, I just tune that crap out. It's just noise to me. I say, okay, no problem, sir. Yes, sir. And then back to my crew I go, and we continue to do our stuff. I've even went as far as not putting certain training events on the calendar, where maybe it doesn't bring attention to my station, where guys in the station want to do stuff, I want to do stuff, but it's almost like I don't want to put this on the calendar and go out of service for it because I'm just going to get flack again because, oh, you guys are doing too much again, or other stations are getting annoyed because you guys are always doing stuff. So it's like, you know what, guys, we're going to keep this in the house. We're going to focus on us, and we're just going to try to keep those external that noise away from our station. But you can't stop what you're doing. It's like I said, no one can take your passion away. You may get down and out for a little bit, and sometimes I think that comes from a culture. I look at fire departments, and I would say the majority of the time, where if people say that and they continue to say that and they try to stifle your passion and they put you in corners and stuff like that, some of that I think is a culture where maybe they came up in a fire department where you didn't train all the time because it was just a different time in the fire service. They looked at, well, we were going to more incidents, so why should we have to do training? Like, we got this, we're good. What do you mean I have to stretch lines? I've done it 1,000 times. Who are you to tell me how to stretch a line? So I think there's some culture involved in there too. But at the end of the day, I think there's people that are just dickheads, right? And they come to work. Maybe they're one of those people they're in the job, they're comfortable, they want to sit around, they want to show up 10 days a month. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to challenge the status quo. They want an easy ride. Hey, nothing's gone wrong before. We're still good. Fire went out. Nobody got hurt or killed. We're coasting right now. We're in cruise control. Don't screw that up. I would say anything you do, as long as your passion is directed in the right direction, to make the people around you better, to make your station better, your battalion better, your department better, and to better serve the public. If that is your North Star, then you just keep doing what you're doing, and I say tune that noise out. All right, let's see. Let's see, people that are insecure. All right, I'm just reading some of these comments, everybody. I'm just trying to see if anybody's thrown any more questions our way. Clock punchers. Good, that's a good one. That's what I used to call those people. All right, so I don't see any extra questions in here, so let me go back and just make sure we don't miss anybody's. I want to make sure I answer everybody's question, or we answer everybody's question. We've gotten that one. Let's see. I think we might be good, John. Let me go back to your questions. Oh, so this one. I'm looking, and I'm pretty bankrupt on this because I don't listen to too many audiobooks, but I don't know if you do, John. But somebody asked, I'm looking for company officer and leadership audiobooks. Any suggestions? Do you have anything that you could recommend?
Actually, shoot, let me. You know, I would say, I think, Jarrod, you got some books on your site, like a reading list,
I do, yes. Yeah. And
right?
I would imagine those come with an audio version. I've never checked.
Yeah, go to Jarrod's. Um, Audiobooks are great. And for me, sink in as much because I'll space out. I think, I don't even know. I guess
Yeah.
I would say why audiobooks. It's probably easier. Extreme ownership. When we take ownership of anything, you look to yourself of why the issue is caused, because no matter what problem happened, it's different. It could have made the whole
Yeah.
situation better. And ego is the enemy. That's not ego has caused a lot of our pain. And yeah, I don't know what to mean. I don't have a reading list out there,
Yeah.
but
Like I'm sorry, I can't answer that question that good. Like, the best advice I can give you is that reading list. Um, those are some of my favorites. I have a lot, but those are some of the key ones. Um, but a lot of times those books offer audiobooks. So um, I'm no help to you there, unfortunately. But um, if you'd like to just pick up a book and have a book in your hand, certainly grab John's book and any of the books that are on that website. And there's so many other great ones out there. And I would say, I like to mix it up. So I'm very passionate about leadership, obviously. So I tend to lean towards those books, but I think it's good to mix them up. Get some good old fireground practice books, some strategy and tactics, some leadership, some team building, um, uh, and just kind of have diversify your reading list. So let's see. Matt asked, "What is an example as an officer of the best type of training you have done with your crew?" Best type of training I've done with my crew. I pretty much like all the training, so I'll try to answer this question. The best type of training, my approach is I always try to keep training relevant and I mix it up. John and I were talking about this right before we went live for me, training may be, hey, one day we're up on a roof cutting holes in an acquired structure. Maybe the next time we're stretching lines. But hey, maybe the next day we're just going to go talk hydraulics and pumps and GPMs and PSI on a whiteboard in the galley for an hour. That's our training. Hey, let's go talk about a line of duty death report for an hour and talk about the recommendations and lessons learned and things like that. And so I try to mix it up. But quite frankly, I guess some of the best training comes for me is acquired structures. Acquired structures, it's what we're operating in, short of lighting them on fire and going in there and doing some work. To me, that's the best, most realistic training you can get. It gives you so many opportunities to do ventilation, to stretch lines, to do search and rescue, RIT, talk about building construction, depending on what type of building you're going to. So if you have those, I'm always hunting those down. I'll be driving through my district and I'll see a construction site that may be tearing something down. I'm looking for a superintendent. I'm taking a business card. I'm always trying to find my way and worm my way into an acquired structure. So for me, that's the best. And for all those reasons, but you could do so much. But to me, it's also the best because everybody leaves tired and sweaty, but they're all tired in a good way. It's like we came here, we did something. There's a good feeling about it where we accomplished something. We worked hard as a team. And then what I try to do is when we have those days, we go back to the station and we don't do anything else. Everybody relaxes. We talk about the training. They feel good about what they did, and they can also just kind of relax and blow off some steam. And I found those are the best types of training for me as an officer. Acquired structures where I can just mix it up and have realistic training.
I would
Yeah.
say
Best. Yeah. What do you think?
I actually do something called the first do drill, and
Yes, that's
we
good.
just first do, and we've got abandoned houses. We got houses where just no one, lives in, not falling apart or anything. Closed businesses, any of those, we drive up and we do everything but make entry. So we'll pull up to a house and nozzleman will stretch a line, irons, we'll bring irons if I got an irons guy. He gets the line ready, calls for water, so the engineer's got to pump the correct pressure, and the fireman's got to have it, make sure he deploys the line right, and we'll do that. So we'll do it different places because at the end of the day, if there's ever a fire in that house, we did the majority of the work. Now we just got to do our hose line management through it. So that's my favorite drill. We'll go to apartment complexes a lot. We'll stretch up their stairs. I just did some probie orientation, and that's what we did. We went to an apartment complex, and we did a vertical stretch to the third floor, showed them some stuff, because you're at the buildings that you're going to have a fire at, and you're pulling the hose off the truck just like you would. You're doing everything but make entry into the house, and we're not doing any damage. Sometimes we may have to squeegee a walkway. We don't want to leave a bunch of water from charging the line, but end of the day, the firemen, they all perform their duties, and the engineers got their duties of actually pumping the line instead of going through the motions. And then, I'm doing my walk around, and we're there at the building. We're checking out, hey, is there a standpipe system? Where's the fire alarm panel? Looking at the construction. Just getting out in your first due. And we stay in service for all these. And yes, there's been times I've had to leave hose on the ground and take a call because we deployed the line, call came in, we got to go.
Right.
Try not to, maybe throw it in the truck, but that's how you're gonna get better because it's sets and reps. Getting out there, pulling the lines, and you can do those without causing any damage. I mean, fire structures are great, but we don't always get them.
Sure.
So this is to me the best thing that and I tell the guys, if we ever a fire here, we already did this. So let's pretend we did this before because we did.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's good. It's that's muscle memory, the basics, and I've put that on my page several times, but it kills me. And I hope one day this will just be a memory, but I don't think it will. I think there will always be people that will just marginalize those basic skills. It's like, there's no advanced anything that we do. It's known how to stretch lines efficiently, throw ladders, do good search and rescue, perform ventilation, no building construction, and no fire behavior. And it's amazing how people will say, well, that's nothing. That's academy stuff. We do that all the time. But yet we go to fires and it's like they call it predictable surprise, right? We show up and it's like they can't figure out the door. They're kicking through. I mean, I've literally seen people mule kick a door and their leg is stuck and they're fumbling around on the front porch like an idiot. So, but they're the same people that say, well, I'm good. I know how to force a door. Well, do you really? And you have to try to expose that if you're a company officer somewhere. You work on those fundamentals to where they become muscle memory, and you constantly work on them. And I could talk training stuff all day long. I believe in it. I believe there's value to it. I believe that's what brings people home. I did that video last night, and it's show me everyone goes home. Don't just tell me. My crew will always understand that the training that we do is, when it's relevant, it makes us better firefighters. But at the end of the day, I want them to go home and see their brother, their sister, their sons, their daughters. That's my goal, and that's my obligation to them as a company officer. And John's obligation, and I know he takes it seriously, is everybody as a company officer watching this video should be doing. So, John, I don't know if we have any more questions. Let me look through here, just make sure I didn't miss anything. So if anybody has any questions, throw them on the comment section. I'm just reading through here real quick. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, John, or anything that's on your mind? Let me just browse through here real fast. I don't see anything else. There was one question that somebody posed, but the more I think about it, John, I think we talked about it before we went live. I might just answer that in private. It's just one of those types of questions. I don't want to put the guy on the spot. All right, let's see. All right, so I think we're good. Any final words, John? You think we're good? We've been going for almost an hour now. It's been good stuff. So I'm hoping that everybody has taken something away from it. Again, if you haven't followed, look up Brotherhood Coaching, follow John's stuff. It's good stuff. It's company level stuff, and it's applicable. You can immediately read it and apply it in your firehouse. Same thing with his book, and I'll pitch it all day long. There's so many leadership books out there, and I always like the ones that apply to me, where I can immediately read this and I'm like, man, he's talking to me. This is stuff that I do every day. And there's no fluff. It's the nitty gritty of the stuff you're going to be doing every day. It's a quick read because you're like, boom, boom, boom. I'm so into this stuff. This is me. This is my position. But it's something that you could use every day in your firehouse. So, so take a look. I think it's on Amazon, correct, John? I think that's where people can go get it. You still coming through okay? You there, John? I might have lost you. You still there? You hear me, John?
Hey, Jarrod, can you hear me?
Yep, I sure can. You hear me? Hey, John, you there?
Yeah, the connection's real bad here, so I don't know if you can see anything.
Maybe not. I'm gonna try to. I'll hang up here, and people may be watching us talking on the phone. That's okay. But what I'll do is I'll hang up here, and if the feed's bad, we'll go ahead and end it, and I'll let everybody know that we're live with that we're ending it. So so if you guys can see this, again, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Again, hopefully you got something from this conversation. Only here to help you. But I'm gonna hang up the phone with John. I'm gonna jump back on Facebook Live, and we'll see what's going on. But that's it. John, you got anything else for everybody?
No, just keep at it. And after you're make a difference with people.
All right, awesome. Well, definitely reach out if you need anything. You need to bend an ear. You need some advice. John and I, you can reach out to us, send us a message via Facebook, email, whatever the case may be, and we'll be happy to help you. But thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.